In this video, we're going to cover a couple of the communication related error codes when it comes to the control system. We're going to start first with the E-60 error code, I/O board, and either one of our control panels, both either from the front or the rear. So let's talk about a couple of the components that are involved with that. The first we're going to have is our I/O board, which is a potential failure point, and then we're going to have our CAN bus cable, because remember, this is how that communication is delivered back and forth from the control to the I/O board. So if we do suspect that it is a CAN bus cable, remember we can use the CAN bus cable tester to test this cable. And basically what we'll do is unplug it from each end, and we can test those cables and verify whether the cable itself is good or not. And then the last component we're going to have involved is actually one of the control boards themselves. Now, if you remember earlier on in the training, we talked about the flashing LEDs here that kind of give us the health status of those different components. So we can try to help use that in our troubleshooting when it comes to this error code. So remember, the components involved that could be a failure point is going to be either 1, our control, 2, our CAN bus cable, or 3, our I/O board. So when it comes to taking parts with us to the job site, we want to take those 3 components involved to help try to have a first-time fix rate when it comes to this error code. The second error code that we're going to talk about for communication is the E-220 error code. Now, this error code comes up if the I/O board loses communication with both of the control panels for longer than 180 seconds. If this happens, this will put the entire system into what's called a safe mode, and all the heaters will be disabled. However, they will still have access to the control panel so that they can continue to use their timers and navigate throughout the control. Now, when it comes to troubleshooting that, likely we're going to have a situation on the E-220 error code where potentially maybe one of our fuses over here, which is the power supply for our 12 volts DC going to the controls, if one of these fuses is blown, then it will not deliver the 12 volts DC powering up the control board. Remember, a quick indication of that is the LED lights on the control itself. So if we don't see those lit up, these green LEDs down here at the bottom, not the communication ones up here, but if we don't see those lit up, we could potentially have a control board that has shorted and maybe blown one of these 8 amp fuses that we talked about earlier. So just remember, with a few of those parts that we want to take when we are troubleshooting that error code is going to be some 8 amp fuses for this unit. Also, most likely a control board itself. And then last but not least would be a last resort of our I/O board. So those 3 components is what we would want to take.